The clockmaker's secret. In the heart of a fog-cloaked town, nestled between cobblestone alleys, stood Harrington's timepieces, a clock shop untouched by the modern world. Inside, the air smelled of aged wood, brass polish, and the faint, ghostly whisper of ticking hands marking time's relentless march. Every wall was lined with clocks of all shapes and sizes, their pendulums swaying in a perfect rhythm, as if the entire shop were alive. But one clock did not belong. Tucked away in the corner, obscured by dust and shadow, sat an antique grandfather clock. Unlike the others, its hands moved backward. The owner, an old man named Elias Harrington, had inherited the shop from his grandfather, never daring to remove the peculiar timepiece. It had always been there, silent, watching, until tonight. The moment Elias locked the front door, preparing to retire to his small apartment above the shop, the clock let out a deep, resonant chime, a low, mournful note that rattled the glass cases and sent a shiver down his spine. It had never made a sound before. Curious, Elias approached, his wrinkled fingers tracing the wood's intricate carvings. He noticed something he'd never seen before, a small brass keyhole beneath the clock face. His heart pounded. Without thinking, he retrieved a bundle of old shop keys, his hands trembling as he tested each one. On the third try, the key clicked. The glass panel of the clock swung open on its own. Inside, the clock's inner gears whirred and shifted, revealing a hidden passage behind the clock, a narrow stone staircase leading downward. The air that rose from it was damp, carrying the scent of earth and decay. A whisper of cold fingers brushed his skin, urging him forward. Elias hesitated, but curiosity burned within him. He reached for the oil lantern mounted on the wall, lighting it with a match. With cautious steps, he descended. The further he went, the heavier the silence became. The ticking of the clocks above faded until there was nothing but the sound of his own breath. The stairway spiraled downward, deeper than seemed possible beneath his small shop. At last, he reached the bottom, stepping into a massive underground chamber. There, under the flickering lantern light, stood a vault door, an ancient structure of iron and brass, covered in arcane symbols and Roman numerals, its surface rusted with age, yet humming with unseen energy. At its center was an engraving of the very same clock from his shop, its hands still moving backward. A chill ran through Elias's veins. He didn't know why, but something in his blood told him this vault had been locked away for a reason. But something else, something darker, whispered in his ear. Open it. His trembling hands found another keyhole. He knew, without understanding how, that his shop key would fit. He inserted it. A sharp click. The vault door groaned as it creaked open, revealing a cavernous room beyond. Elias gasped. Inside, hundreds of strange contraptions lined the walls, covered in dust and cobwebs, machines that looked decades, even centuries, ahead of their time. A glowing phonograph without records, a mechanical arm powered by an unknown force, even a box with glass that reflected strange moving images. And in the center of the room, a massive clock-like device, its gears interwoven with a human skeleton strapped to it. Elias staggered back, bile rising in his throat. The bones were fused with metal, wires threading through the rib cage like veins. A pair of hollow eye sockets stared at him, as if the corpse had been watching for years, waiting. A book lay on a nearby table, its leather cover cracked with age. Elias flipped it open, struggling to decipher the faded ink. The Experiment of Time, initiated October 13th, 1823. One must pay the toll. Time does not give, it only takes. His breath hitched. His great-grandfather had founded this shop in the early 1800s. Had he been involved in this? Then he saw it. His own name, Elias Harrington, scrawled in the margins. Suddenly, the clock device whirred to life. The gears turned, the air grew heavy, and the room shook. The skeleton twitched, as if something was awakening. Elias turned to run, but the vault door slammed shut behind him. A voice echoed through the chamber, a whisper from the bones themselves. "One must pay the toll." The machine lurched forward, its gears clicking, hands reaching. Above, in the clock shop, the clocks all stopped at once. Then, they began to run backward. The next morning, the townsfolk found Harrington's timepieces locked and empty. Elias Harrington was never seen again. But those who walked by the old shop swore they still heard the ticking, and sometimes, just sometimes, the faint sound of a voice, pleading from behind the glass of the grandfather clock. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, so you never miss another bone-chilling mystery. Have your own paranormal experience? Drop it in the comments. And if you dare, check out our other haunting stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay cautious.